I'm not a designer, but I was always very fascinated by art and design. So I had to sort of find a cheat code to work with designers and for designers without actually designing, because I don't have the talent and I don't have the patience to develop skill. And I found the cheat code. For the past 6 years, I've been working as the head of brand marketing at Readymag. Readymag is a design tool for creating websites without code. It wasn't always for that. Back in 2012, when the first iPad was just launched, digital publishing was about to be revolutionized, and we were sort of spearheading this process. Readymag's co-founder, Anton Gerasimenko, thought about a design tool that is going to be a bit like InDesign, a bit like WorkExpress, but fun, interactive, and on the web. And this is how Readymag came about. When we first launched, the team was pleasantly surprised that the users were actually making fully functional websites with Readymag. The functionality was already powerful enough. We were among the first. I had to say that this is an example of our first landing pages that showcase this transition. Readymag was among the first to give full control over the design to the actual designers and not the developers and not the website admins. Remember those. The interface is very similar to graphic design software, very straightforward, drag and drop, image-based, what you see is what you get, no layout restrictions, basically anything you put on the page can be turned into code. Anyone can make a website in Readymag, but designers achieve the best results. And my job is to make this known. My job is to find designers who would appreciate Readymag and talk to them. Sometimes it's literally talking to you, but most of the time, of course, it's a lot of different things. It's partnerships, it's sponsorships, it's contests, it's social media, it's PR work. And of course, I don't do this alone. I have a talented brand team of over 10 people, which I rely on to spearhead this process. And as one of the ways to achieve that, last year we applied to Indigo Design Awards. And we're super proud and happy to win in 3 nominations. So this is why this year the producers were kind enough to invite us to speak. And as you can imagine, our design and product teams are either super busy or super introverted. So I was nominated as the one to talk. But, and of course, naturally, I agreed. Coming to Athens to meet all of you guys sounded like a dream. But I also wanted to make my presentation useful, so I decided to talk about what I know best, marketing for designers. So how did I get here? The first time I had to admit that making good design sometimes just, unfortunately, isn't good enough was before I worked at Readymag. I worked at a hip architecture and design research institute. I was the head of the content and design department, and my partner in this role was our director, Anna Kulachok, who some of you have probably heard of. And while she was in charge of creative decisions and design and mentoring our design team, I was in charge of deadlines, budgets, task management, all of the super cool and fun stuff. And our clients were both in-house and outside sponsors who we had to include in our visual co-branding, with whom we had to make sub-identities. And a lot of the times these relationships were super smooth. But sometimes they left me extremely frustrated because I was super sure in the excellence of our design work, but I had to spend hours, sometimes days, sometimes weeks of the process just convincing them that what we're doing is okay. That yes, we have considered other options. Yes, we have seen what Airbnb and Uber is doing. No, your audience is not stupid enough to understand good design. Yes, you can trust us. Over time, I realized that our avant-garde style is scaring them. Clients need some sort of outside approval. They need the seal of approval. So we decided to apply to a design award. This is me on stage with slightly better hair, as you can see. And It's me holding the gold certificate for best brand identity or something, and I remember thinking of how some of my colleagues from the industry were saying that press and design is just about ego, and you just have to do the work. But after this moment, I knew that ego could be transformed in an actual business skill, and your ego can be your friend. At Readymag, the reasons to apply to design awards were different from those at my previous workplace. In a design-centric company, no one is questioning whether we really need 2 full weeks to design a landing page. No one is asking us whether, do you really need to talk to designers before agreeing to a visual co-branding? None of that shit. This is not happening at Readymag. But we need to convince the press. We need to convince admins and decision makers at larger enterprises that decide which software to buy. We need to be seen in order to grow. And convincing is an easier task for larger corporations, but in comparison, we're a small company. We have only 50 people to do the whole project, and our company is bootstrapped, our audience is niche. We don't dispose of advertising budgets so big that we could just like throw money at Google Ads and Meta and see customers come in. It's not to say that throwing money at Google and Meta is bad. Different approaches and different businesses are valid. It's just ours is different. It's sustainable growth. And sustainable growth also means that we don't have revolutionary product launches every week. We don't have billion-dollar acquisitions. We don't have huge investment rounds every year. And all of these are understandably newsworthy events. So we have to make our own news from scratch. We have to be creative about getting your attention. So why do designers need marketing? I think there are a number of reasons. First is to prove design expertise. When a client Googles you, and if he finds just your social media and website and maybe a sponsored ad here and there, that's a good thing. But if he finds your website, your social media, and someone else writing about you, that could be a game changer, that could be a deal breaker, that could be the reason when they make their decision. I think it's also important to receive community support. When you're visible, you get feedback more frequently, and sometimes it's praise, sometimes it's critique, but both of these things obviously help you grow. Praise also helps you get motivated and helps you get inspired and also gets your team inspired. And also this might mean that other professionals would want to join your team more. Also, it's about attracting more and better clients. I put better in, how do you call this, parentheses, because all clients are good as long as they exist. But it's also nice to have the privilege to choose which projects you can work on. And it also enables you to kind of raise the price range of the services the more requests you get. And I think Readymag's marketing goals are similar to agency marketing goals. Many of the tricks we use at Readymag can be used by freelance designers, can be used by agencies, can be used by studios. And today I'm going to talk about some of them. Let's start with media pitches. For a product like ours, it's super hard to get into media for free. Understandably, when journalists see a pitch from a brand, they send you straight to the commercial department, and that's okay. Journalists need to make money. So that helps us learn the hard way, how to write a good pitch, how to get taken seriously, how to formulate your story if it's a good story. I'm going to get a bit deeper into that, but first I'm going to show you some examples of media outlets that have worked for us, media outlets that I personally read, and media outlets that have like actual pages on their websites where you could submit your pitch. I think you would recognize some of them. I see some people taking pictures, and I'm very honored. Thank you very much. I was hoping it's going to be this useful. Readymag's blog also accepts pitches from guest writers. We have a dedicated page on the blog. Please do that. We love hearing from you. And besides classic media and blogs, you can achieve a super high success rate by writing to the tools that you used when you made a design project. We at Readymag love receiving stories and hearing about use cases, and this is the place when you don't have to be shy because you're doing us a service. Successful use cases are great advertising. Yeah, I promised you to tell about how to make a good pitch. You need to boil down your project to the problem you want it to solve. And you need to boil it down to the solution that you have found, to the challenges you have encountered, and then you have a good pitch. You need to answer a couple of questions, especially if you are reaching out to products. How did the product help you achieve your goal? Are there any success metrics that you can show? Did it increase your collaboration speed? Did it cut down your costs? We love hearing about all of these things. And if actual numbers are protected with NDA, you can always get creative. You can show it in a percentage increase. You can find some relevant data for the industry and see how you stand out. For example, I can't tell you the actual profitability of Readymag. I can't tell you our user base. But I can tell you that when I joined the company 6 years ago, it was 20 people. Today, it's 50 people. See what I did? You can do the same thing. And don't stop at just one email at hello@company.com. Find the right person on LinkedIn. It's usually something like head of brand marketing, content media manager, social media manager, and write to them about it. Find at least one good thing that you actually honestly like about their tool. If you can't find it, that's okay as well. Find one good thing that you know or like about a hometown. I once got on a call with a person that mentioned my favorite restaurant in my favorite city. So I was just curious and I was like naturally attracted and I was interested in what you have to say. And also, if you use ChatGPT, please edit it. People who get pitches a lot can smell ChatGPT from a mile away, and they don't take it seriously. They want to know that you know your business. And even if you have a lot to say, make sure it's very, very short. Think of it like a first date in the Soviet Union. You want to show your best side. You don't want to give too much away. And you need to know that they might tell on you. This is a summary of what I was saying. So good pitches need to be concise, they need to be factual, they need to be demonstrative, and again, they need to be concise. You need to think about the person who's reading your email, and you need to think about them having enough energy to answer after they're done reading. And now it's time for another sip of Prosecco. Cheers. But sometimes the confines of client brand guidelines, of your NDAs, of the briefs you receive, kind of impede you to truly shine and to put your best face forward and to do projects that are reflective of what your work is, or what your studio is, or what your design ethics are. And the answer is not new, and it's quite simple. It's passion projects. And no, they're not just for students, they're for well-adjusted agencies too. I'm going to show you just a few examples. This one is by designer Anton Repanen, who you also might have heard of. He created this concept of an analog watch, and he's a web and graphic designer. And this watch received the Red Dot Design Awards. I don't remember what year, I think it was 2009 and 2010. And part of the exposure that this concept got him enabled him to make the actual watch, and the actual watch was sold in the MoMA Design Museum. Another good example is the project Kubrick by Ukrainian studio Tubik. I assume that the team just really liked Stanley Kubrick's work, so they made an interactive long read with Readymag, of course, which showcased Kubrick's work, and they received FWA, they received the awards, they received the Webby Award, and next year they were invited to do the website for annual AWW Awards. I never know how to pronounce it, but I love this website. I don't know for sure if these two things are connected, I haven't asked them, but they happened one after another, so I assume it works. And the last one I want to show is Ladies Wine and Design. The ladies here have probably heard about it. It's a non-profit project launched by Jessica Walsh of And Walsh Agency. She did it in 2015. Gender inequality was always a big problem, in 2015 even worse. So women needed these safe spaces to talk shop outside of the male-dominated spaces in the design industry. And after it launched, to this day, it has 2020. You can read the number on the screen. It has many chapters in many cities, and while it does a very good job of providing safe spaces for women and non-binary designers to talk about their craft, it also gives power visibility to Jessica Walsh and to her studio. We at Readymag also do passion projects. I'm not advising stuff that I don't do, and I'm not advising stuff that doesn't actually work. For Readymag, I think I'm just going to show one. I have two in this presentation, but I don't want to bore you. This was The Faces Behind Typefaces, a project we did in collaboration with the Type Directors Club, an American organization for typographers. We wanted to help them celebrate their, I think, 70th anniversary, but I might be wrong. And we wanted to show the continuity of the older generations of type design and typography pioneers. So we interviewed the younger generations of Type Director Club's members and asked them about their teachers. We asked about Paul Asher, we asked about Paul Rand, we asked about Akira Kobayashi, and this project got us the Red Dot Design Award, and thanks to also the visibility of the Type Directors Club, this project alone got us more press in a month that we usually receive in a year. And we didn't spend $1 on it, besides, of course, the salaries of the people that were working on it. And I think it worked because everyone involved genuinely cared about this thing. At Readymag, we care about typography. Type Directors Club naturally cared about their anniversary. And it worked. I was going to talk about designing women a little bit too, but I'm going to do it probably later personally. So to sum up, successful passion projects have passion. They have relevance to your business strategy. Even if it's a passion project, it has to be something that you want to continue doing. It has to attract the type of clients that you want to work with. It also, unfortunately, has to have a timeline. Passion projects often get pushed aside just because there are always more pressing matters. There are always business projects that would bring you more money quicker. But if you do a plan and if you stick to it, then it's going to work. And speaking of plans, you also need a distribution plan, because as we all know, sometimes it's not enough to just do good work. You need to get your work seen. And a great way to have your work seen is, of course, social media. Like with design, the best way to succeed on social media is to hire professionals. At Readymag, we have 3 people in our social media team. We also have a designer that spends most of her time just on social media, and allocating these kinds of resources helps us grow quickly on every imaginable platform. Instagram, Arena, Dribble, you name it, we have it. We have, I think, 130 followers on Instagram, 50,000 on TikTok, and the rest is spread evenly across all other platforms. But even if you don't want to invest this much, you can still do well. And the first thing to do well is to pick a platform that works for you. For designers, the most obvious choice is Instagram because it's so visual. But you also need to think where your clients hang out. If you're looking for larger enterprises, sadly, you need to be active on LinkedIn. If you're in the lifestyle business, you need to have a TikTok. If it's NFT or crypto projects, you need to be active on X. But if you don't have 2 or 3 social media managers, please don't try to do all of them, because one of them will definitely fail. And speaking about failing, it's important to understand what success is for you and when you would like to reach that success. So think about how many followers you'd like to have in a month, how many followers you would like to have in 2 months, how important engagement is to you. Do you just want the pretty number next to your account, or do you want to have many comments, and do you want to have many actual live people following and interacting with your content? And if you do that, it's easier to understand sooner whether you need to change something, and sometimes even what exactly you need to change. Every time a new feature rolls out, use it, especially with meta platforms. Instagram is well known to boost posts that have their new features used, and you can very successfully piggyback on that. Also, you need to be visually recognizable, even if your client work is very diverse. I selected a couple of my favorite accounts here to show you, and I was going to get in detail, but I don't think we have time for that. I think my general advice would be to pick a template and stick to it. I'm going to just stop at this one, the Steven Zagmeister page. First of all, very strong proof. Even Steven Zagmeister does social media, so we all need to do it. But also, I just like how he uses social media. He has a huge platform. On Instagram specifically, he has over 500,000 followers, and he doesn't use it to promote his own work. He accepts submissions from designers. You can just email him and he selects the work. He always includes the original caption from the designer, and he writes a short review, just 1 or 2 sentences. Sometimes it's just praise, sometimes it's like, I wonder if, so very helpful critique, and it's never mean. And it's just super wholesome. I love it. And try not to try not to change your avatar. I got scared of my microphone for a second there. On Instagram, especially if you have like a longer, obscure studio name, as soon as you change your avatar, people forget who you are. And also, a good advice is just try to be like Rihanna. When she changed her avatar, it was after 10 years, and it made news. Another thing you need to do is also, sadly, post regularly. Different platforms have different rules. On Instagram, you need to post stories every day, a few stories, but you can be lighter on the posts. On TikTok, if you don't have a huge following, you need to post a few times a day. Honestly, at Readymag, we don't do that, but we're very lucky to have a very talented real creator who posts original content like 3 times a week, so it works perfectly for us. If you don't have a dedicated creator that like shoots herself, has her face, shoots original content, then you need to reuse the content you have and post it every day a few times. Facebook, I would say just forget about Facebook. LinkedIn, I don't know what to do with LinkedIn. My personal page is a tragedy. We prioritize LinkedIn and Readymag specifically for the reason that we need more, that we want to see if they would bring us more enterprise level clients. But you would have to book like a personal consultation with our social media manager because she does it, but I don't know how. My LinkedIn page has like 5 likes per post. It's a complete tragedy. And this actually brings me to my final advice. Social media doesn't work if you don't honestly like it. And my 5 likes on LinkedIn are proof. So yeah, to have good socials, you need to choose an appropriate platform, you need to have a recognizable style, you need to update it regularly, and you need to do it with love. This is my favorite part, and this is, I think, the easiest part. It's fun, it's easy, and it's free at least most of the time. It's submitting your work to design inspiration websites. These are most frequently created and managed by designers. So there's not a lot that you need to say. The submission forms are usually very simple. It's just the project name, project link, and it gets your work in front of many, many people. And these are some of the design inspiration websites I personally spent a lot of my time on, and that bring great traffic to Readymag. So I think it will bring great traffic to you guys also. Oh, and Readymag, of course, also has a design inspiration page. This is a selection of websites made by Readymag users. We update it 5 times a week, I think, and we make sure it's a selection of the very best things that you can do with Readymag. And awards. Because we're all here, I assume we all know what awards can do for you. So I think the only thing that might be new for you here is that Readymag also has a design award. It's our most popular marketing activity, I think, since 2013. Designers love it because they get to showcase their work, and also their communities love it because they get to vote and they get to decide what the best designs are. And this is democracy, and we have to thank Athens for it. That's it. Thank you so much.